we watched Out of the Blue last night by Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, written and directed by Dennis Hopper. Crazy maniac.
Crazy person.
But Dennis Hopper is a crazy person.
I mean, like, he is the characters he plays, dude. There's no getting around that. He's like, slightly unhinged, you know? Almost too out there to be functioning.
Yeah, and like he says in the beginning of the film, he's like, I don't have collaborators. I only collaborate with my actors.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It's such like, he's like, it's amazing that anyone ever lets me direct a film because I fucking don't get along with anyone, is essentially what he's saying.
Yeah, and he plays the same maniac he would be in Easy Rider or Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Get some good Dennis Hopper freakouts.
Mm-hmm.
And this for sure. Mm-hmm. If you're looking for that, this is a movie. I mean, it's a good movie in general. It's a good film.
It is a good movie. It's very poetic, I feel like. There's some shots that are amazing, just like at the trash yard with all the birds flying around.
Yeah, he's like a trash person. Why don't you go ahead and lay out the plot?
No, you lay out the plot this time.
All right, so the story is about a 15-year-old girl living in Texas. Her dad is in prison because he was drunk driving and he crashed into a school bus full of little kids.
And that's the first scene of the movie. That's what you're introduced to.
Yeah, the first scene in the movie is Dennis Hopper is a truck driver and he's driving with his daughter and he's drinking. We see the school bus stuck in the middle of the road and then he just fucking crashes into this school bus full of kids. And that's the intro scene. But the actual story is about the daughter and her living this life in Texas with a single mom who's a heroin addict. And she's like kind of dating around town, whatever, you know. She wants what's best for the kid, but the kid is obviously grown up and she's already fucked up. The kid's already fucked up. Like, she's super rude to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
She's just kind of a punk, wannabe, huge Elvis fan.
She's very passionate about that, though, which is kind of endearing in a way. It's just how into rock and punk she is.
Yeah.
It's like her whole personality and like very, she's very against the establishment kind of gal.
Yeah, and she's not living in, this film doesn't take place in like an affluent neighborhood. It takes place in like a white trash.
Truck stop,
like nothing, no one going anywhere, dead end, like town that's like all broken down. It's probably economically dying as well. This girl, this is like, tries to escape from this fucked up environment and world by like with music or like just kind of going on her little escapades into the city. Even though this movie's shot in Toronto or Montreal or something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It takes place in Texas. But basically that's the setup, and her father eventually comes home. She hasn't seen him in 5 years, and then we kind of see the impact of the father coming home. Let's just say it's not like the most positive experience. It's actually a negative. It makes them, they're worse off when he was came back than when he was in prison. And there's all these consequences to him coming home and entering back into this world.
That's the thing I love about the movie, though, is you feel for this kid, CB, who's the daughter.
Yeah.
You see that her household's just so broken. Her mom is not stable. Nothing in the town is stable. All the adults in the town are like unhinged, alcoholics, and it's just not a good environment for any kid. There's that feeling you feel for her where you want her to have a stable family. You want her to have her parents together and the promise of comfort in the household being more stable. And then the father comes home and you don't get that. It's the opposite of that. It causes more problems. And for her, a little kid who most of her life her father was in prison, that image she has of what would be is like completely shattered really quickly. But she doesn't want to admit that, and no one wants to admit how fucked up they are. I think as an audience, that is what really resonates with people in this movie is that emotional connection you have with the daughter and how you want what's best for her, even though you don't know her, you know?
Yeah, and the dad is just like goes spiraling down like pretty much right away. Like first he's kind of nice and then he just falls into his alcoholic habits and he loses his job, and then when the part where loses his job after that, it's just like super duper downhill.
Oh, it's downhill.
It gets like pretty dark and violent, and unforgiving, kind of devastating. It's not a happy ending. Sorry, spoiler, but
No, but it's a punk ending.
yeah, I guess that's the whole idea.
Well, okay, so the structure of the the film is really sound up until the third act, and I feel like it really drops off, and a lot of the ending was rushed, and I know that's because of budgetary restrictions they had on set.
Yeah.
They had to wrap it up. They couldn't do the ending the justice it deserved.
You know that?
Yeah, that's what Jake said.
Okay.
I'm not blaming them for that because that happens in any production. That's the difficulty of shooting anything. I felt like, for me personally, the ending drops off too suddenly to becoming like not the caliber that rest of the film had been.
Yeah, the first half to 2/3 of the movie is really, really good. And that's like almost kind of like that hangout movie, living in the world of this thing, and then it kind of does this weird like thriller ending type shit, like where it's like in a horror, not in a horror movie, but it just kind of was just violent. You know.
It was almost surrealist.
Yeah.
For sure.
That definitely was the ending. Definitely the last scene is very surrealist.
But that was my one gripe with the movie. Was I felt like the ending, I don't know, just didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I think it's flawed in that aspect. I wouldn't call it really anything close to a masterpiece.
No, Jack Nicholson called it a masterpiece.
Yeah, like I can see it having this little cult thing, but it's good.
Yeah.
It's definitely like really cool, the world they set up, and the girl is great in it. Dennis Hopper, the mom. Not necessarily a happy movie, but it has some vibes to it, for sure. But I think it's out of the way because like I can kind of see how it's out of the way. Like,
yeah. But overall, I don't regret seeing it.
No, I didn't regret seeing it either. Because I heard it was good, and I'm glad I saw it. Dennis Hopper is worth checking out anytime.
Yeah. You always know he's going to be up to something.
I would have to give it probably 3.5 on the boxed.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, not 5 stars. Like, you can see the budgetary stuff because some of the shots, like it's very guerrilla when they go into the city, and then they're shooting the punk band, which might have just been a punk band playing. I have no idea. Like
that's what I think.
Because you can see like the videography of it, of like the shadow, and like they're shooting it like it's like a concert, like how a videographer would shoot it. But it looks good. It's soft. It looks good. The film looks great.
Yeah, it does.
You can see the shadow multiple times of the film, the camera.
There's the part where he's just filming the street performer, and then the street performer breaks the fourth wall, and that's like they're just having fun.
It's a very new wave of him.
Yeah.
Except that was like 15 years too late. But yeah, he's trying to do something artistic, and I respect it. And I respect him going out and making the movie. Because it's not an easy movie to make.
No, definitely not.
Just with the budget and the story he's trying to tell. Yeah. It's all in the performances.
Yeah.
Just all these drunks and stuff.
Yeah, definitely not a place for a kid.
Yeah, definitely not a place for a kid. She was born into it. It's not her fault.
She was born what?
It's like not even her fault, like the way she is, because she can't do anything about it. She's just trapped in her reality of being a 15-year-old kid and this like old enough to like not old enough to go out on her own, but like old enough to understand that stuff is shitty. She hates men, even though she looks like a guy. Yeah.
It was a really interesting commentary at the end there. That was one aspect of the ending that I did like, was that reveal at the end, and I thought it was cool. I think that the child actress is really good. I'm really impressed. Would you recommend it?
I think it's a solid picture. I wouldn't recommend it to my mother, and I don't think I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah, it might be a while before I ever see it again.
Yeah, don't regret watching it. Not a masterpiece though.